All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies course, I've been going through a series of video presentations which are based on the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series. I'm in the Structuring the Web with HTML, and I'm in the Multimedia and Embedding section, and now we're going to talk video and audio content. As the author says, the next step now is to start adding video and audio players to our documents. And that's what this section is about. Now, there's different ways of doing this. All right. They mention here in the early days, native web technologies like HTML didn't have the ability to embed video and audio, so we use things like the Flash Player or Silverlight, and notice it says both of which now are pretty much obsolete. All right. So when HTML5 came about, one of the things that they added were video and audio elements. And as it says, some new shiny JavaScript APIs, which we'll discuss later, for controlling them. All right. So it says we won't be teaching you how to produce audio and video files. What they're going to do is they're going to take existing audio and video files and add them right into your program. All right. So it says before you begin here, you should realize that there are a lot of different providers, what they call OVPs, or online video providers. Each of them do things a little bit differently, and that's not that important. But what is important are the types of files that you end up adding onto your program, because sometimes certain file types are represented better than other file types are. All right. In other words, it has more universal browser support. All right. So let's get into this. This is the video element. And notice it says it allows you to embed a video very easily. And here's a simple example. All right. So let's grab this. And let's put this into our, and we're going to make a change to it in just a moment. All right. But let's come in here and let's go into our, oops, wrong file. There we go. So let's come in here and let's see. We've been playing around with this gateway arch picture. Let's just leave that picture in there. That's totally fine. All right. And let's go down below that. Let's just add this. Now, I am going to make some changes to this. All right. What do I mean? Well, I'm going to come in here where we've got this source. I'm going to come in and I'm going to go into YouTube. And I'm going to type in here, because I don't know if there is anything for this, but I'm going to type in St. Louis arch. All right, so writing to the top of the arch, etc., how the arch was made, that one might actually be a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to grab this
time debugging your mobile app
URL that's
instead
in
of
there.
focusing on.
All right, and I'm going to just, whoops, I'm going to paste that into what we've been working on. So right here. Well, it didn't like something I just did. All right, so I've got that. Let me go back over to here. Let me grab this URL and copy it, because I don't think I did previously. And we'll paste that in. There we go. Now, let's see if this worked. All right, so I'm going to do a file, save, and I'm going to come in and try to run this. All right, we have this. Does not appear right now, at least, as though it's working. The controls is what gives us this down here, but it doesn't like what we put in. So going to try one last thing here, and that is this. I am going to go back to the file we were just looking at. All right, this writing, I'm going to right mouse click on this, and I'm going to copy the video URL, and I'm going to try to paste that in instead. Doesn't look like it really changed anything, so I don't think it's going to take this either. I don't think it's going to give me any type of change. And you can see that indeed it did not. So, all right. Let's go back to this and let's look. When we right mouse click, what do we get here? Copy embed code. All right, well, what's that? All right, well, I want to show you, I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, but I wanted to show you something here, and that is this. I'm going to click where it says share, and I'm going to click where it says embed. And I'm going to grab everything that's in here, this iframe, which I think is a little bit later in this section. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to copy all of that, and I'm going to go back to our document here. All right, and rather than using a video like this, I'm just going to paste this whole thing in like this. I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to format it or do anything else. But I did that and I saved. All right, now if I come back here, let's see if this changes. All right. And you'll notice we now have
the
this.
arch today. It's been years since I've been up in the arch.
Okay, we now have this inside of our web page. Now it's not pretty, it's not formatted, etc. We can do all that. That's not really at all in here what's important. But let's go in and take a look at this. All right. So the video element allows you to embed a video very easily. A simple example looks like this. Well, since this one didn't work for us, and we don't have this rabbit320.webm, let's see if we can do this. So let's go out to w3schools.com, and can we do a search in here? I'm going to look for the video tag. All right, it's video production software, HTML video. Here's the video element. That video tag, that kind of looks like what we're going to be looking for, I think. All right, so it says, try this yourself. Well, they've already got these built in here. Now, what I do want to mention about what they have here, kind of an important thing. First of all, notice they give you a size. Now, I busted this up. See, notice this, see this result size, see how it's changing? All right, well, they're setting the width and the height, which is going to make the size of your screen. Now, notice they have both movie.mp4 and movie.ogg. All right, and then they've got your browser doesn't support this video tag. The reason that this is important, all right, the reason that this is important is, again, different browsers support different kinds of video format. Most browsers, if not all, support MP4. In fact, my videos are put into an MP4 format. Just to show you quickly, I don't want to belabor this too long, but the stuff that I end up creating, all right, it goes into this TechSmith project file, but after I produce it, it ends up becoming an MP4 file. And none of these are produced yet, but just to show you, let's see, can I go in here? Oh, goodness, come on, I know it's in here. Nope. Well, let's do it like this. All right, so here are some, for example. Let's see, this will work. So when I create these projects, what ends up happening is it makes these TextMeth project files. I then produce them, and it creates a bunch of different files, and one of the types it creates are MP4 files. So if I open this, it'll open it up in the MP4 player. And then notice...
All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application Web.
So in other words, it created that, it produced it, and it saved it as an MP4 file. All right, now I'm making too big a thing out of this, yet I'm not. And what I mean by that is it's important that you understand that different browsers support different types of video formats. There is no universal one, unfortunately, right now. All right. So it says here, source is pretty much what we looked at, the same kind of thing we had it for an image. It's the path to where the video exists. Controls will add literally the controls in there for you. All right. It says the paragraph inside is called fallback content. So if for some reason the page doesn't support the video element whatsoever, it'll basically, typically what you put into fallback content is something like this. Your browser doesn't support this. Here is a regular link, or sometimes it'll say your browser doesn't support this. You should really upgrade the version that you're using or something like that. All right, so there's their example. So it says you can try the example live. So let's quickly look. There it is. Looks like a rabbit to me. And then they have the associated source code. All right, which is right here. So let's just grab all of it. There's not much there, and take a quick look. So here it is. Again, that's the key element in there. Now, this won't work if I run this directly because I don't have this particular file, rabbit320.webm. All right, using multiple source formats to improve compatibility. As it says there could be a potential problem with the last example. It says if you're using an older browser like IE or an older version of Safari, the video won't play because those older versions don't support the different video and audio formats. All right, so we already talked about some of this stuff, but it says there as an example, a WebM file containing a movie has a main video track and an alternative track. This stuff isn't that important. What is important is, again, to realize that some browsers will support virtually just about any kind of video format, but the older the browser, the less the chance that it's going to support something. Now, how do you know if your browser even supports audio and video and the like? Well, there's a nice site that's called caniuse.com. And I can come in here and I can put in video. And it shows me here that virtually everybody supports it except what is in red is not supported. And those are all older versions, like versions 6 to 8 of IE. All right, versions 2 to 3 of Firefox, etc. And you'll notice they're all. Now notice with this, Opera Mini doesn't support the video at all, which means it's probably a text-only type of browser. All right. But caniuse.com, a nice little thing that you can look up to see if something is or is not supported. Now they go into here and they talk about things like codecs, audio codecs, and video codecs, and it's worth your time to take a quick read But as it says there, the tracks hold data in the appropriate data or format for the codec, all right, used to encode that media. Different formats are used for audio tracks versus video tracks. Audio tracks use an audio codec. Video tracks use a video codec. So if we right mouse click on both of these and open them up, here's the audio codec guide. So it'll tell some of the common ones. And as it says, container support. All right, and this one is similar, but it's for video. Again, good, bad, or indifferent. There's not universal acceptance, but typically as time goes on, there's more acceptance. So you start to see these different things like we've already looked at with putting in possibly different files, for different formats. But the idea is over time, hopefully at least, there will be universal acceptance. All right, now notice it says WebM contains packages for Vorbis, Opus, and VP8, VP9 video, which, as it says, is supported in all modern browsers, but not necessarily in older ones. MP4, again, like I'm using, it's supported in all modern browsers and in virtually all IE. OGG, as it says, it's best supported in Firefox and Chrome, but it has basically been superseded by WebM. So WebM basically, as I think at least, as people get rid of more and more older browsers, between WebM and MP4, that'll pretty much, those will become the standards if they're not so already. It says another situation is the always popular MP3 file. All right. And I believe MP3s are for audio only. All right. So it says here, why do we have this problem? This is what I was just getting to. All right. I don't want to sit and read to you. But what it all boils down to is different browsers have different support for different things. All right. And as it says there, in the United States, patents MP3 until 2017. So that's already gone. But H.264 is through 2027. As it says, because of these, browsers that wish to implement support for these must pay royalty fees, which quite often they don't want to do, which is why a lot of these things have been updated, upgraded, etc. as time has gone on. So here's an example, and notice this is what I was mentioning to you. Quite often, you might see 2, 3, 4 of these, where you've got the same file saved in different formats. So as it says, here we've taken the source attribute out of the actual video tag and instead included separate source elements so that we're able to provide different versions of the file. Each source, as it says, also has a type. Okay? It says this is optional, but it is advised rather that you include it. It contains the MIME type. MIME is an acronym, all right, media type, and it's like multimedia something extension or something like that. I don't remember. All right, but if you want more, you can click on that and take a look. All right, I'm about halfway through, so let's finish up right now and come back with part 2 in a couple moments.